The dancing timeline of Governor Obaseki'S Modular Refinery. There has been credible reports of talks between the Godwin Obaseki's-led Edo State government and all manners of Chinese investments, finance and construction companies. Many of these companies are becoming renowned for searching our parts of the world, especially in Africa, where the governments love beautifully worded MOUs and partnerships, as well as seemingly cheap loans for gigantic projects with definitely little or no impact on the greater number of local people. It is of the strength of the outlook that all well meaning Edo people must look at the speed and desperation with which Governor Obaseki has opened up our state to the Chinese firm since 2017. Our case study will be the hyped Ologbo Modular Refinery belonging to the Edo Refinery and Petrochemicals Company Limited, so called. Barely a few weeks in 2018, Governor Obaseki pledged to provide all necessary support to the Chinese consortium comprising Pyongyang Chemical Equipment Company, a Chinese university, and Sinopec Oil and Gas Nigeria, who he said were set to commence construction of a 1,000 or 5,500 barrels per day modular refinery in the state by either April or October 2018. The controversy over the refinery began when the Edo State governor and a Chinese firm were reported to have signed a pact to build a 1,000 BPD modular refinery in the state to start production in 2019 April. One Abdulatif Salau in Tianjin, China, reporting for Daily Trust newspaper in Nigeria, wrote that Edo State government has signed an agreement with a Chinese firm, Pyongyang Chemical Equipment Co. Limited (PCC), to build modular refinery in the state. The project which has the capacity to produce 1,000 barrels of crude oil per day, is expected to be completed in April 2019. The newspaper reported that an MOU was signed in Tianjin, China by Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki, paying Chemical Equipment Company Limited (PCC) President Mr. Huamang Tian and Vice President of Tianjin University Hu Wenpeng. The university owned 51% interest in the company. Observers became confused, not knowing it's a 1,000 barrel per day modular refinery. Edo was expecting a one of 5,500 barrels per day after the report. Until date, the government has not cleared the air. However, to demonstrate his commitment to the 5,500 barrels per day refinery, Mr. Godwin Obaseki was in China for the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the Chinese consortium for the modular refinery in Edo State. The MOU signing ceremony for the refinery took place at Sinopec headquarters in Beijing, China, and was witnessed by officials of the Nigerian embassy in the Asian country, as well as staff of SIPS Nigeria, a major local fabrication company with a branch in Benin City, Edo State. The consortium committed to delivering phase 1 of the project within 12 months of receiving the required regulatory approvals. In addition, it also agreed to finance the demonstration modular refinery up to 70% and also serve the operation and management company that will manage the refinery before transferring it to the local investor after an undisclosed period, and not to the Edo State government. An eager Governor Obaseki then promised to work with the companies to access a $60 million funding facility under joint agreement between the Chinese and Nigerian governments. He was told by the Chinese that the phase 1 of the project was a demo modular refinery and would have the capacity to refine only 500 barrels per day and would be ready by October. The phase 2 of the modular refinery, with a capacity of 5,000 barrels per day, the governor was also informed would be embarked upon only after completion of the first phase. Interestingly, the proposed refinery project comes in the wake of Nigeria's Department of Petroleum Resources (DPR) award in 2015 of 25 licenses to private investors to establish refineries in Nigeria as part of the federal government's strategy to expand the country's existing refining capacity through use of modularly constructed refineries. Less than 4 weeks to the phase 1 of the refinery taking off in August 2018, the Edo State governor announced dramatically that his government was investing a 700 million naira into the project. That amount was approved by the State Executive Council as there was no state legislation. The approved 700 million naira was labeled redeemable preferences, shared investment in the Edo Refinery and Petrochemical Company Limited by the Edo State government. The funds came from an amount the executive branch of Edo government said it put aside with the setting up of Edo Investment Scheme Limited, a special purpose vehicle SPV to hold 2 billion naira investment fund in which the Ministry of Finance Incorporated MOFI and the Edo State Oil and Gas Producing Areas Development Commission EDSOGPADEC are to hold shares of 20% and 80% respectively. In the transaction designed, the Edo State government also said that the investment funds will be repaid in 3 years after the execution of the projects, besides the interest that will accrue to the state within the interim. There was, however, no modular refinery at Ologbo for the Edo Refinery and Petrochemical Limited, either in October 2018 or April 2019. But by August 2019, the news was that a new refinery project, which is located at Ologbo, Ikpoba, Oka local government area, partly sponsored by the Edo State government, was being developed by AIPCC Energy Limited and would soon come on stream. The news that the fabrication of 6,000 barrels per day BPD modular refinery, not the 1,000 ppd or the 5,500 BPD earlier hyped, has been completed and would be inspected by officials of the Department of Petroleum Resources (DPR) in China before it would be shipped to Nigeria. When operational, the refinery was projected to produce from its feedstock 50% of diesel, 500,000 liters, 25% of naphtha, 300,000 liters, and 20% of fuel, 200,000 liters. Premium motor spirit was not going to be produced from the refinery. Meanwhile, the federal government had commenced the environmental impact assessment for the proposed modular refinery being developed by Edo Refinery and Petrochemical Company Limited. A statement by Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Environment on behalf of the minister said the exercise is in accordance with the provision of the Environmental Impact Assessment EIA Act E12 LFN 2014 and entails public display of the draft EIA report in centers across Edo State and Abuja. The project, according to the statement, involves the development of 600 barrels per day modular refinery where crude stock will be refined into finished products such as kerosene, diesel, naphthalene, and petrochemicals. The controversy over the refinery concerns its capacity and financing and its future as well as the actors involved. The Chinese consortium and its Nigerian agent, African Infrastructure Partners (AIP) or AIPCC Energy Limited, labeled a subsidiary of African Infrastructure Partner (AIP), are those in charge. The AIP has founder and owner Mr. Michael Osime, Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director at ICMG Securities Limited as chairman. The questions now yearning for answers are: why did Obaseki commit 700 million to a refinery project, whereas he said he would help the consortium access $600 million funding facility under the joint agreement between the Chinese and Nigerian government for the same project? Was this amount necessary when he also said the consortium would finance the demonstration modular refinery up to 70% and also serve as the operations and management company? How can the EDSOPADEC and the Edo State Ministry of Finance Incorporated become 20% and 80% owners of the refinery, which on completion will be handed over to a local investors? And whose are these local investors? Fact is, China is smart and so are its companies and businessmen, and is deliberately about its policy unwilling praise. And for a poorly managed state like Edo State in Nigeria, it's a good prey. China comes only on invitation and understands the development deficit involved and strategically uses it to keep the economy future of its prey under its arms. The play is simple: give staggering loans to corrupt leaders and keep the details of repayment from the public. With the help of local collaborators in the regulatory agencies, eventually its debtors are unable to service the debt, take over the collaterals, which, as the world is now seeing, are mostly vital assets. So, my other people, yes, this is the news that's reaching us today. And it's all about the dancing timeline of Governor Obaseki'S Modular Refinery. It's all about the Modular Refinery, Modular Refinery, Modular Refinery. Yes, to be honest, Obaseki hasn't done very badly. But one thing I would let people know, firstly, is that forget about the fact that our politicians always say, "Oh, I want to serve the best interests of the people. I want to serve the best interests of the people." No. Don't get it all wrong. Any politician, irrespective, would always serve his personal interest before the interest of the people. So it's two things there. Your personal interest must be sorted out before the interest of the people, because it is widely said that charity begins at home. Don't think Obaseki would leave his children and his wives suffering or living in one mud house, and he's building modular refinery, building roads in the country and everything. It doesn't work that way. You know, every human being serves their personal interests, irrespective of who they are, before serving the country's interest or the people around him, their interest. So that is it. You know, with once again, I want to say that we know that the Chinese company has been has brought more troubles to Nigeria, to be honest. Even the federal government has a pact with the Chinese company. Don't forget. So the thing is, if Obaseki has even stretched his hand to the point that, you see, he wants to make those refineries work, and he's saying that, you know what, if it's through the Chinese guys that this thing is going to be actualized, yes, let's get them in. You know, yes, we understand that the projects are not completed, or one thing led to the other. But at least for the governor to stretch his hand out to say, you know what, let's get this done, it means that he has the mind to see that those things actually work. So yes, and to be honest, we think that this is a reason why Obaseki should be given a second term. Yes, we are not talking for or against Obaseki or for or against Adams or APC, PDP. No, that's not our point here. But looking at the facts, if Obaseki has set all this and had all this running and it's not completed yet, it is imperative that Edolites give Obaseki the chance to get these things done so that he can be held accountable. At the end of the next 4 years, if these things are not done, then we can probe Obaseki and get him and hold him accountable for them projects or get the monies back. That's the right way to do things, Whether the project is completed or not, it's not a bone of contention now, because even federal projects, they are yet uncompleted. They get completed in years, So with such big projects in Edo State, obviously, no matter how good the government is, it is hard to get this project to completion. What needs to be done is to outline the strategy and the repayment plans and any loan that's been taken, so that the public can know, and it is written down, and the public can know how, and will know how to generate funds. So when you're generating funds for this thing, for this project, people would know that yes, the money is generated from here is put into there. So the problem we are having in Nigeria is lack of accountability. For example, Obaseki has signed a pact with a Chinese company, but the weight of repayment has not been released. So how would the people actually know how the payment will be repaid? You see, that is the problem. So some people like us, the public, will think that there is something fishy going on. Why is it that we know that you have borrowed this amount of money, but we don't know how you're going to pay? You see the thing? So when you know that you are going out to borrow this sort of money, you should put a repayment plan so that Nigerians can see, Edolites can see that yes, this is how we're going to pay. Then so you yourself can be held accountable. That's the thing. But in Nigeria, we only give them a tip and just believe that everything they would understand by themselves. No, they will tag you a criminal because they don't know how you are working, your strategies. They don't know. If they see that if you have put a timeline on the project, say 2018 19 April, this refinery is going to be completed, and the people don't see that it's completed by then, and you didn't give them the update of things, how things has gone. There are natural disasters. There are a lot of things that can happen that can hinder that project from completion by the end of your timeline. So you have to give an extra timeline for that. But how have you explained that to the people? Have you drawn it out? Have you shown the public what is going on? No. And that is a problem not only with Obaseki, but with every government I see around Nigeria. We always embark on a project, but we never show how to complete it. We never tell the public the timelines. We never have a concise document about the project that is put out there that everyone in the public can go to the internet and access it and see what is going on with the project. Nigerians, Edolites, are crying for accountability. That's the only thing. If you are a government that is accountable, then you'll be seen as a free and a fair government. But if you think that you won't be accountable, then people will term you. Even if you're doing the right thing, people don't want to know because they haven't got any ideas of what exactly you are doing. So my people, that is it. It's again the timeline, the dancing timeline of Obaseki and the Modular Refinery. So we want to hear your take. We want to know what you think about this. We want to know what you were saying concerning this as Edo people, as Edolites. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear your voice in this time because it's crucial time. It's perilous times around Edo states right now because the elections, the primaries is just by the corner, and the main elections is still by the corner as well. So a lot of things are coming out now, but however it is, we only bring the news to yourself just as it is. We don't want to indict any government, any leader that is fit to wear the crown. Yes, let him go in there to see a better Edo State and a better Nigeria. Thank you very much, my people. Please, if you haven't subscribed, do press the subscribe button and also the notification bell so you can get the news as soon as we upload them. But every news regarding Edo State is coming straight away as soon as we get them. Thank you very much until I come your way again. You take care and God bless. Bye-bye.